Barclays, I owe you over 2,000. American Express, I owe you over 2,000. Capital One, I think I owe you over 2,000. Aprilia, I owe you a lot of money. Verizon, I think I owe you 800. PayPal, I think I owe you 300. That's money, even if I had it, you're never getting it back.
Sam Hyde has been a massive fan of a thing called debt maxing. He has made numerous videos where he gets on podcasts saying that he's over $200,000 in debt and that he, quote, refuses to pay it back. And as someone who has rebuilt their credit from literally 4 to over 750 in the last 6 months, I also have a $58,000 credit limit, and I've also run a credit repair agency for the better part of a year. I think I know a little bit something about what he's talking about. So in today's video, I'm going to be outlining his entire debt maxing method and explaining how, if you want to, you can also do it for yourself, what Sam Hyde has gotten wrong and what he has gotten right. So make sure you guys stick till around the last 3 minutes of the video, because I'm going to be showing you a way to get around $200,000, maybe even $300,000 in funding that I'm personally not even crazy enough to try, provided that this video doesn't get at least 100,000 views. So if you guys go ahead and share this video to a friend or family so they can educate themselves in how the credit system actually works and how we can hack it for ourselves. So we're just going to get right into it, but as always, guys, thank you for watching. So essentially what he's talking about here is that, one, in the video right here, he has a rented car that he's fucking with, and he also owes a bunch of money to different credit agencies. So let's go ahead and watch a little bit of this video right here.
I'll get that right away. Even if I have the money, you're never getting it. Oh, I'll get that for you right away, sir. Here you go. That's me rushing to pay Toyota Financial. That's me rushing to pay Aprilia.
Obviously, this is not financial advice. Do not take this as financial advice. Legally, this is not financial advice. But, you know, got a little sauce.
Financial. Oh, I just remembered. I owe a bunch of people a lot of money. Let me sprint to go pay that. I think I owe you 800. PayPal, I think I owe you 300. That's money, even if I had it, you're never getting it back. I'm stealing.
Total balance, 2 racks. Balance, 18 racks. Total due, $5,000. 24 months, 20 years, come kill me. Oh, due, 10, 20, 29, 77 fucking dollars. So this is something that when we talk about getting into debt, that not a lot of people realize. If you're willing to eat the cost of interest, which honestly you shouldn't be because it will cost a lot more, you should be treating a credit card financially. But if you're willing to eat it and extend the debt out as long as possible, you can kind of pay a subscription for the next 20 years to have $20,000. So ask yourself right now, would you pay $70 a month for the next 20 years to right now have $20,000? A lot of people would say yes, because there's a lot of things you can do with 20 racks. You could, for example, buy a car and rent it on something like Turo, which will pay the monthly payment for you, and you don't even have to do anything with it. It's just an asset. You can just have an asset. You could do the same thing with a down payment on a house and just rent it out and then just have that asset. You can only do that with credit card debt. I'm not telling you should do this, but not do it with a real thing. If you're just not going to pay your debt back, obviously you can consolidate it for as long as possible. So if I want to buy a $40,000 car and I want to have it paid off in 20 years, I could probably bring that monthly payment down to around maybe $200, $300, $400, give or take, because of how long it's going to be. And obviously in that period of time, you're incurring a fuck ton of interest. Oh yeah, bro, you'll be paying about 60% of that in interest. So you'll end up paying $90K. That's true. Keep that in mind. But if you want that car now for some reason, this is how the banks make money. Because you want it now for whatever reason. And obviously, if you had one option of saving up for the car for the next 20 years, putting in that much money or half that much money or even more than that much money, or having the car today, most people would pick to have the car today. Also, fiscally, it makes sense to have the car today because you can use the car for other things. Let's say you don't even want the fucking car anymore and you just sell it. Okay. Then you pay it off and then boom, done, we're good. And then you basically just paid a subscription to have the car for a while. Obviously, this is not financial advice. I'm not telling you to do this, but I am telling you this is how the system works. So when we get into the video a little bit, I do need to lay down those ground rules. I do have a full guide in the description down below on how to remove anything bad off of your credit. Because when I say things like this, the first thing people are going to say is, oh, that's going to fuck up your credit, which yeah, it will. But if you know the method, you can just take it off. So I have a full guide for that down below. I also have a full guide on what I use the first time to get a 750 credit score and a $10,000 monthly credit card limit. So make sure to go ahead and check that out if that's interesting.
Important to start acquiring wealth and learning to protect wealth. And it's something that I wish I'd had been paying more attention to in my 20s, I guess. The value of the dollar going down, and the way that the way taxes work. I mean, it's just something to start paying attention to.
So basically what he's saying here is that, yeah, the value of the dollar is going down. It's harder and harder to live comfortably or even normally as an American. With inflation, the wages have not gone up at all, but the cost of living has. So the cost of living has gone up like this, and our wages relative to inflation have been going up like this. So you can see there's kind of a big line here when there wasn't. There was a big line, now there isn't. So it's very important for young people. So if you're younger and you're watching this video, good. I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna teach you what to do to start thinking about our financial future. And yeah, that sucks. It sucks to get into debt. You hear horror stories about debt. But a lot of what debt is it's designed for stupid people to fuck themselves. If you're not stupid, which I teach you not how to be stupid on this channel, as well as with that free guide, you're not gonna fuck it up. It's a pretty simple system, right? It's building a good credit and basically being able to buy or get into debt for whatever you want. So Sam here is talking about essentially being a little bit more parasitic to the system. So finding ways that you can take money out and accrue wealth for yourself, which is something I teach you how to do with the full guide down below. And I will teach you a pretty crazy method for doing it that I'll show you a little later in the end of the video, but I'm gonna wait for that near the end.
And paying attention to the various the manifold inefficiencies and problems with the system, and missiles for Israel. So every dollar that gets sucked out of your pocket is being used for evil, with a capital E. And when I say become more parasitic, I mean,
yeah,
I think it's important to,
yeah,
I think it's important for your generation, my generation, to just start gaming the system more.
Yeah, so what he's saying here is that it's like, yeah, your money is being taken and using for a malicious purpose. Your money's gonna get sold to Israel. It's gonna get, actually, fuck that, given to Israel for more missiles to bomb more children and bomb more hospitals, right? And there's nothing you can do about it. So it's important to start being a little bit more parasitic. Or as he says, PGL, be more parasitic. I would not recommend always debt maxing. So in order to outline fully what the method is that he's talking about, I'm going to go over to the normal phase. Essentially, the normal method that he's talking about is accruing a high credit limit, which I teach you how to do with the full guide. Actually, fuck it, I'll just teach you what to do right now. So step one, if you've never had a credit card before, get the Discovered It's Secured card. If you can't get it, open a bank account with Discover and put $250 in and then apply for it. And then boom, you'll get the card, no questions asked. Because it's $200, so you're basically giving them $200 and using that $200 as collateral against the Discovered card. After that, you spend at least more than 10 bucks a week on it. So when you're gonna go buy Chipotle, maybe use it for your gym subscription, pay with a credit card instead, and set up auto pay, and never miss a fucking payment. Not yet. If we wanna miss payments, we'll do it later, but not yet. What we're gonna do is build our credit. And if you do this for 6 to 8 months, with the Discovered card spending about more than $10 a day, you will have a 750 credit score, period. You will have it. It will be yours. It will be given to you on a silver platter. After that, apply for whatever card you want. I have a full guide listing a card that I think would be the best for most people, but you can get whatever card you want. You could start credit churning, which I have guides for that as well. You could just keep the Discovered card and upgrade it. You could not do anything, but I would recommend getting a nice, fat, healthy credit limit of at least $10,000. So once you have that $10,000 credit limit, oh, also don't close the Discovered card. This is a little bit off my script, but do not close the Discovered card. It looks really bad to the bureaus and it looks really bad to banks because it's length of credit history, and it does not matter what you were before you got that card. It only matters after you got that card. So let's say your parents had a credit card for 40 years, and that's the biggest thing that they had, and they just decided to close the account. Boom, just like that, they lost 40 years of history, and their score is going to go down. Do not ever close accounts. Just leave them open. You can close bank accounts, that's fine. Don't close credit card accounts. And then after we get the $10,000 credit limit, there's basically anything we can do. You can do what Sam Hyde is talking about right here, and debt maxing. So he says that he put in about $200,000. So let's say that he got $200,000 somehow. He put all that into Bitcoin, which you should not do right now because it's at an all-time high. Wait for it to dull. I'm waiting for it to dull. You should wait for it to dull. And then just wait, and then the money will grow. Put it into something that is guaranteed to grow. Do your own research. You could also put it into a business. Like I said, you could buy a car and rent it on Turo. You could also pay for a nice condo and Airbnb it out. There's a lot of different things you can do with that kind of money, or you could do something crazy and turn that shit into more money. This is called creditception. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to find aged businesses that have tax returns and a bank account history. So essentially you want to find an aged business at least 20 years that has at least 20 years of tax returns, as well as had at least a 20-year long bank account open. Because it's really easy to get a old business, but it's a little bit more difficult to get a business that actually has tax returns and a bank account. For whatever reason, you can buy them. Maybe they went under, maybe they had bankruptcy. It doesn't really matter, just up. And you can get these for $18,000, $36,000, depending on the business. And then after you do that, just apply for a business credit card. I would recommend the Amex Platinum Business because it is the best business credit card in my opinion, because it has all the travel benefits and you also get the 4x reward points. So I'd recommend using them. But you could also apply for business loans and buy a house, and then put a down payment on like $1 million house with this $200,000 to $300,000 credit limit you have. You could buy a Lambo if you wanted to, and then rent it out. And there you go. That's the insane method that currently I'm not even crazy enough to try. Again, if this video gets 100,000 views, I'll start to think about it. And then what you do is what Sam Hyde is saying, and just not pay back the debt. So I don't recommend this. I think you should normally pay back your debt in 99% of circumstances. But if you don't want to, you don't technically have to. Because a lot of the ways that the credit system works right now, especially with banks, is that they expect you to be nice and pay back that debt. If you're not, the system doesn't really have a great solution for you. Oh, but they'll send you to collections. Do you realize how hard it is to take fucking money out of someone's bank account? They have to fully sue you, right? So if you get to the fully sued stage, hire a lawyer and figure out what the best option is. But there's a lot of process that goes before that, before they decide to actually sue you, because suing someone is expensive. Plus, if you get on the phone with them and you sound like an opioid addict or a pill popper, bro, they don't want to go to court with you. They don't want to spend that money. Plus, they definitely don't want to put you in prison, because in prison you can't make them money, because that's what they want, is they want their money. There's a couple of things that they'll try and do. They might try to garnish your wages, so they'll cut off 20% off your paycheck if you get a paycheck. For me, since I run my own business, that's not really how it works, so they couldn't really do that to me. But if you do have a regular paycheck, aka you filled out a W-2, that's something that they could do. They could also just do a court order to take the money out of your bank account if you actually have it. They could also make you file for bankruptcy. I would tell them no, but you could also file for bankruptcy if you really wanted to. And then you could use my free guide down below and blamp it off your credit report, because I teach you how to with the free guide down below. Pretty easy. It's a pretty simple process. I've done it for a while. Completely legal. As long as you don't file a police report, don't file a police report. But it's completely legal. You can do what you want. Because fun fact, a credit report is not a financial document, meaning you can lie on it. But basically what you'll do is when these debt collectors call you, because what happened essentially from there is exactly what Sam Hyde said, which means that the bank has sold the debt to someone else. So they have sold the debt to a third-party collections agency for usually half the cost. So at this point, they're kind of just making nothing but pure profit, and they're betting on the fact that you'll actually pay it back. But if you just talk to them, they'll be like, okay, we'll take 50%. Like, could you do less? I can only afford like 20%. I can pay it back today if it's only 20%. I'll be like, okay, we can do 20%. And then you could be like, okay, so I can only do a monthly payment of that 20% of like $54 a month. Like, my dad's in the hospital. My kids are, my wife is taking them. Like, just go out with some bullshit and then just talk to them for a while, because you're legally allowed to speak to these people. Just have a conversation with them. Because remember, they want to make money. You want to keep that money. Just try and, do business with them and figure out a solution that's going to work for everybody. And you can work with them. A lot of people don't know this. You can work with debt collectors. You can just talk to them. You can just be like, hey, I've had some problems in my life. I'm not financially able to afford to fix this. Can we do a minimum monthly plan? What's the lowest you can go? Oh, I think we can only do 200. Oh, maybe could you do 50? The art of the lowball, people. Just keep bringing people down. Have the patience. Bring them down constantly. And then if they sue you, they sue you. And they would have done that anyway if you didn't talk to them. Or worst case scenario, you file for bankruptcy. And bankruptcy is basically just like, oopsie, I couldn't pay for the debt. And then you hire a credit repair agency and they get it blamed off your record. So that is an explanation of Sam Hyde's debt maxing. Now, he did it a little bit different than I would recommend it. I would recommend buying the business. I haven't quite gotten to buying the business yet, but again, if this video gets 100,000 views, I'll start to accelerate that process, and I want to make a series of videos about it. He has not done that. He did not do that. I think he could have gotten a lot more money if he did that, if he used that 200,000 to buy businesses and then just did the exact same thing that he's planning on with that business or those businesses. Obviously, you'd probably have to put up some kind of personal collateral for that kind of thing, but I mean, if you make like a couple $1 million, it's, you know, kind of like so. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. So if you guys did enjoy it, make sure to go ahead and consider subscribing, as well as checking out my full free guide on how to build your credit within the next 6 months to a 750 score, as well as get rid of literally anything off of your credit report. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope that you